What was Libertyville like?
It was dark.
It was dark.
It was dark.
Did you guys have? Were you a Boy Scout? Was
No,
there
I
a
was-
Chuck E. Cheese's there?
I was an Indian guide.
What?
Do you know what that is?
No.
So an Indian guide is probably not going to work anymore. We would get bear claws.
Oh, like donuts.
It would-
No wonder you
well-
love donuts so much.
Thought we were going to get donuts.
Why are the donuts? These are
No.
bear claws.
We would get, like, if you did something that was really cool or, like
Like land a roundhouse kick. What do you mean really cool?
I just knocked that guy's jaw right
Yeah.
off.
Here's
Can
a
I get
bear claw.
Here's
Enjoy.
a bear claw for you,
Hey,
buddy.
Why don't you go eat it under that pine tree over there?
Wipe your ass with that pine cone. No, it was like you would have essentially like a necklace, and on this necklace, and it was made of I don't know what you would call it, but
Shells?
well, you would put like
Snail shells?
like beads. Certain colored beads would represent something, or you would get these like plastic bear claws. Like there was like big ones, and then there were small ones. So like you would get those, and I guess there was a vest or like a sash or something like that, and they would put stuff. It was probably a vest. It's probably the reason I like vests to this day.
It all makes sense now.
It's all there.
That's so interesting. I never even heard of this. Why that instead of Boy Scouts? Was there no scout troop? And
I don't really know. I never really came up, but this was something where, well, no, I mean, like you would hear about Boy Scouts, like
I was a Boy Scout. I went up to Weeblo.
Weeblo. Is that like a rank? What is that?
Yeah. I guess I quit probably when I was like 12, so it's probably for middle schoolers. So I didn't even make it to Boy Scout. I was a Weeblo. It was like pre-Boy Scout. And then we went on the Klondike, which is like an annual winter like event. And I got run over by a sleigh. And I said, I'm never going back again. And I never went back again.
And this is last year.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in rough shape.
Yeah. But what's not in rough shape is this start of a show to talk about where we decided to come up with this, and just the trajectory that we've gone. But
And maybe explain why we haven't made any videos in a long time.
there's good reasons.
Partially pandemic related. It's when we kind of switched over to the podcast format.
Sure.
And still trying to really hone that in. We did make that recent. I guess it's not that recent anymore, but our kind of the last video we made was our first video together in person in almost 2 years, right?
Yeah. it
The
was
teaser,
5 months
which
ago.
was teasing something that never happened. We had a couple ideas. Look, it's been very difficult for various reasons.
In looking at the first episode, I think my dog said it first. Rough.
Wow. Did you write that on the way here?
I just came up with that.
Wow.
Right now.
Okay. I couldn't tell. You and I had met through work.
Right.
Let's put it out there.
Put it out there, and it was like, well, what do you want to do?
It's the only way for two people like us to be friends.
Of course,
Through work.
It's.
If we had met in
what
real
it
life,
is.
there, who knows? We would have maybe gotten into a fight or something.
It's possible. Not much of a fighter, but sure. You could have been the one person, right?
The
Be
one
like,
person.
you
You're
son
gonna
of a
get your ass
bitch.
kicked by me.
That is how this is gonna go.
I believe you did say that to me, actually.
So-
You, sir, are gonna get your ass kicked by me. By me. I remember
you-
that conversation.
do
Do you know who I
you
am?
know who I am, sir?
You and I think, bonded. It's such a weird thing to say. I don't know why. You and I bonded over, specifically Die Hard and Big Lebowski. Once we found out that, we both love those films, it was off to the races, I think.
Yeah.
For many of our early videos, very loose outlines. Like, okay, well, this is kind of the direction we're going to head in. Let's just improvise and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Sometimes it worked. Most times it didn't. But we were always just figuring stuff out on the fly, I guess, like most people do in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of hurdles. The intention was there. The motivation to do this was there.
Sure,
The
we didn't want to
direction-
suck. We wanted
No,
to be good.
we wanted to be good, but we didn't have a camera other than the phone. Which, you know what, everyone uses their phone. Like, who cares?
I mean, it's actually pretty decent. I'm not going to complain.
Phones at this point. I mean, I have
Shooting.
a better phone, a camera phone, than necessarily the camera that we're using to film this. I don't have anything wrong with this camera, but it's just like,
It's a DSLR for those at home.
right, of course, DSLR.
Canon.
Yep,
Thank you for
exactly.
sponsoring
Thank
this
you.
episode. Thank you.
I know that
Thank
you're
you. Thank you.
not making cameras anymore, but that's fine.
They're not making cameras anymore?
I heard a rumor.
What?
We would have like sleepovers.
Classic.
In fact, one of the sleepovers, I remember, we had to send out a, like an itinerary to all the other parents, and just say like, well, this is what we're planning on watching.
Was that via U.S. Post?
It's probably a phone call at that point.
Sure.
Probably. The movies that I wanted to watch, Beetlejuice, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I guess it was that Tim Burton.
Some
kick.
things never change. Wow.
There was maybe another one. I don't think Batman was part of it.
16
like,
candles.
16 Candles.
There's nudity.
Nah, I don't think that was on that list. But like one of the parents was like, no, I don't want my kid watching Beetlejuice.
Really?
No. Yeah.
Why? Too
I don't know.
scary? Is it
No.
PG-13?
No, it's PG, but I think like he's just such a character. You know, he's
I don't want my son seeing any
mischievous.
characters. I don't like this whole character business.
He's a very bad character for your growing boy. Don't
Yeah.
watch it.
That makes sense. You know my cousin Eddie,
Yeah.
Fast Eddie,
Yeah.
from Detroit City. Very close by to you, actually. Somewhat
Close.
close. So I was in LA, as per usual, staying at my cousin Eddie's house because he lived out here at the time. And it was just us two and my grandma, who was babysitting because we were, again, very young. Dragnet had just come out on tape. We walked to the video store, rented Dragnet,
Yeah.
popped it in. Grandma was sitting on the sofa. We were sitting on laying on the floor watching it. Everything's going fine until we got to the strip scene
club, yeah.
with the tassels,
Yeah.
or whatever they're called.
Pasties.
Pasties. So she's, again, not technically nude,
No.
but as soon as that came on, my grandma stood up, turned it off, and like unplugged the VCR, and like she's like, nope, done, and just like took the VCR away.
Oh, Grandma.
So I didn't get to see the rest of that movie until later.
I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. So
We didn't know.
I didn't know what I was gonna do, but you were like, well, my camera on the phone, that works out okay. I got a little tripod, we can do that.
And we
It's
just
like,
used the audio for this first. Let's talk specifically about Back to the Future,
Yeah,
which
so-
everyone has seen.
sure, of course.
First episode. I mean, there's some okay moments in there.
I mean,
First
we
thing you
said
notice
it,
is that my face is cut off.
well, yeah.
I'm half in, half out on that one.
I mean, but I think we doubled down on that, and we were just having fun because we were trying to give the idea of like two inept people trying to, we were executives and trying to get something together to make sequels or remakes or whatever was
Yeah,
the
we
whole
didn't really.
shtick.
We just went right into it and said that we were executives that were tasked to do something with this. We didn't really have a backstory or anything. It didn't explain it
No,
at that point because
we
we didn't even really know what we were doing yet.
but I think that was key is just trying something and then figuring out what to do later. Like, get that first thing done.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Don't just be like, well, I have to wait for the perfect time. What does that even mean? Just try it. And we didn't have to release it. We could have just been like, no, it was a good run. That's why I think that first show was, it was good to get that out there, but it at least helped me to understand, what worked and what didn't work.
As you were saying earlier, like there's a lot of elements that were there that would eventually evolve into recurring things, like us kind of talking about pitching ideas
Yeah.
of a reboot or a sequel or a prequel, whatever. But we just kind of didn't. We just went off in so many different directions, and by the end, we were just talking about all this crossover stuff with Lord of the Rings and like Spider-Man. I
Harry
don't know.
Potter,
It
yeah,
got
all that.
out of control.
Oh yeah, VHS is the best format,
Yeah.
and I know you like VHS a lot. I have
I
no
do.
problem with VHS, except that I don't. I don't feel like I can really watch them with the equipment that I have. I would be disappointed.
Sure.
I guess. Dark Ages, man. That was
Yeah.
just like there's.
There's a charm to that, though. Like, not. I mean, there is and there isn't. Again, that's where the nostalgia thing comes in. But it's like the idea of walking around a video store. You start at the far wall with the new releases. If there's nothing good, then you go to the innards and be
Yeah.
like, what crap movie am I going to rent tonight? Sometimes you take it home, it's great. Other times you're like, that was terrible. Same with video games. Used to rent video games on the weekends.
Yeah. you
Oftentimes they were
really-
not good, but you never know. You're not reading. There's no reviews out there that you could easily access before you go walk into a video store.
No, not at all. I mean,
That's where the crew really came into play. Remember, like so and so, like staff picks.
sure.
You're like, I'm a Tom kind of guy. He and I are on the same level. Or Maurice and I don't see eye to eye.
Race. Well, that's. I do remember going to the video store that was next door to the grocery store that my parents would go to, and it was every Friday night. We would go grocery shopping like religiously,
Oh, you told me this, yeah.
and because usually it was like we were gonna pick up groceries for our neighbor who couldn't go to the store. She's a bit older, so we would get her list. We would take that with our list. We would go grocery shopping, and at a certain point, if I'm in the store, I'm just like, for a kid, kids don't. What are they doing in the grocery store? So we would go next door to the video shop, and it's called like Dollar Video. I mean, everything was $1. New releases might have been more, or it was, you get it for a certain amount of days and all of that. But going in there, I memorized all those boxes, every one of them. My favorite section to go to, honestly, was the horror section because they had the coolest boxes.
Absolutely.
But it was like it's kind of funny yesterday because I was talking with Colin. We were talking about how when we were younger, both of us got like Leonard Maltin books, and just like these reference books.
That's funny, yeah.
And I had one. I still have one from like '98, and I was like going through it, and it's like this is what I would do. I would read these things. I wouldn't read novels. I would just read reference books. We would do the same kind of thing.
That's cool.
And
Yeah.
just like, but you'd start to recognize like, well, this movie I remember from that reference book was like not highly rated, so I wouldn't even waste my time with it.
One of the tapes I just found too was He-Man She-Ra Christmas.
I didn't realize they celebrated Christmas in Eternia.
Yeah, well,
In trying to think of ways to be funny and trying to think of ways to like, I'm also not really a joke writer, so like it's a challenge. Like how do we, I'm a very I'm a sarcastic person. I say things that are silly or goofy, just with a straight face, and I'm not like, I'm not the extroverted type. I'm not like the bigger than life character. That's not who I am. And neither one of us, I would argue, are that character. So you have these two like wet blankets,
Well,
and what do you do with two wet blankets? How do you make that work?
I'm definitely more the over the top one, but that's not who I am in real life, obviously, for the most part.
Yeah,
I'm the guy that laughs at his own jokes all the time,
sure.
loudly.
Well, they're great jokes,
Oh, thanks, buddy.
of course. But that's the dynamic. It's like, are we playing characters? Are we playing ourselves? And that was something else too. It's like, are we? And I think that's where the executive idea came in. It's like, well, what are we really going to do?
Right. And
Just
we had the
play these other
name.
characters.
We had talked about this too. We came up with a name before we started shooting, obviously, and it was just trial and error. We came up with a bunch of like film terms and like matched up, and somehow came up with what we think is a really great name for the show or the channel, which is Honey Wagon Magic Hour. just pretty much sums up everything. And then took that idea as we moved forward and really start to create this whole universe, essentially, where we had multiple characters. And now we know that eventually we become these studio executives. It's very clear as to what our intentions are, whereas we were kind of really trying to figure that out in the first 3 episodes.
Those early videos were ways of seeing where, you know, it is that trial and error, and I think there's validity to having videos like that up there.
Sure.
Like it also depends on, like, well, who are you making these videos for? We honestly didn't even really know who they were for.
Right. And that's the hardest part of being a YouTuber. It's like finding that audience, people that understand what you're doing and have similar interests. So
yeah, there was a formula. The very first episode, just kind of getting it, but you can see, like, again, you can see the origin of the things that came later.
For some reason, we're wearing the same exact outfit.
Yeah, that was weird.
It was not intentional.
No.
You just showed up and then we were both wearing the same tan shirt and black undershirt.
Yeah.
We're like, well, I guess it makes sense for the us working together.
Sure.
And then that never happened again.
No. But that's, again, it's all part of the fun. It's all part of the creative atmosphere that existed in there. But then later on, you know, we would wise up, get some lights, get a better microphone, or at least 2 microphones.
More
camera,
people involved.
More people.
It was, I mean, from day one, it was always fun. But as it progressed, and more friends wanted to kind of come into the universe, it became lots of fun. And we would just do that stuff on the weekends. Sometimes there's a lot of times you and I shot during the week. I can't even.
Yeah.
We don't even do that anymore.
Well, we did attempt to put something out every week.
Yeah.
So it was still a lot of fun, and it
was fun.
It had opened the doors.
And I think this will be a good opportunity to revisit all those milestones and hopefully, you know, inspire a whole new generation of viewers to check us out and maybe get us to make some new videos, because we still want to.
Maybe what we'll do is just remake the old videos, like.
We should.
You know, like we could.
That's
very
meta.
Very meta.
Very meta. Very meta.
Yeah, we can. So, any other last thoughts that you have about this?
No, I'm excited. I think, like we talked, the further we get into our progress, I think the more fun these conversations are going to become. Not that this wasn't fun, but I mean, like, talking about the first time we used special effects, or
sure.
I mean, especially you, when we got to like the 2001 Space Odyssey, you were like really into the special effects part, which is like something I don't have. I'm just not. It's just not my wheelhouse. I'm more of like audio, coming up with ideas, writing. Like that's what I love to do. I mean, that's something we could talk about very briefly, but you're definitely like, you were really into like the technology of filming and setting up shots and editing and like making really cool special effects. I'm like, I wrote a funny joke. You want to hear it? So.
Well, what I take away from that is I have no substance.
No,
and
stop
it.
it.
It's all style.
No, we all have our things that we focus on, is what I'm saying.
No, it's very good. I will appreciate talking about the later things, not just because I think that we got better, but because I don't remember things like that from that long ago.
Yeah, what is that?
That just means that the
battery
video is stopped because we've been going for 20 minutes.
It's
so.
like I'm bored.
So
I'm bored. We can just go to. We'll just have audio in this section. The camera decided to quit.
It did, and this is indicative of the quality that you get with hwmh. Check it out.
Oh, sure.